Well,
Wow. We're here back at my apartment, and it's almost as if I have to thank Nick for being here today. He's just not, he showed up to my apartment, y'all, as if he was like, so what do you want me? So what do you want to do?
Wha-
If you didn't want to come record, Mama, we could have done this some other time.
oh no no no
I'm
no!
sorry that
We
it's
are
such a
not. We're not gonna spin that tale. I am a little worn down, but I'm
please
still.
give me the white story.
But I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm not complaining. I showed up and I
Oh,
said,
you're
"Where?"
not complaining on camera.
I said,
on
"Where?"
camera.
Even when I showed up, I didn't complain. I said, "Where do you want me?" And then you were asking me all these questions about how we were gonna format and the mise en scène for
Of
the
course,
video.
because you are my partner, and
And
we both share equitable distribution of the decision making.
And I was nothing but pleasant when I said, "Oh, we could do that. We
Interesting.
could do that." And then, but for some reason, it's not up to your standards. I'm not high energy enough. I'm sorry. I've been up since 6 a.m.
No, I love that, and I'm happy. First and
What
foremost.
time did you wake up today?
I woke up early. I woke up at 8. And I have the text to prove it, because not only was I messaging you to text that you didn't respond to, but I was also
No.
texting
I
my
texted you
friends.
I texted you on my way to work this morning. And
Yeah,
I said, "How are
interesting.
you?"
Great.
Because
Now-
sister was feeling sick last night.
Of course, and I still woke up earlier today, and I still managed to cook.
But
for
notice
my
how I
dog.
reached out to my sister to see how she was doing. That's the sign of a good friend.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
But first and foremost, it is absolutely not my fault that you woke up at 6 a.m. I had nothing to do with that. And mind you, there are many people who
And I'm
work
not taking that on
2
you.
jobs and wake up
And
at
where
6
would I-
a.m.
and
and get
where-
home till 11 o'clock.
And when did I take out my long day on you? I have not.
The first thing you said to me today, as we were walking up the stairs, was like, "Listen, I've had a long day," and I'm like, "Okay, that's not my fault."
No, you said, "How was work?" And I said, "It was a long day." That's what I said.
Great.
You asked me how work was, and I went, "It was a long day." So don't try to rewrite the story.
Not right. I just wanted to say the townspeople and the town council members and anyone involved in this episode should be so thankful Nick is here, because he is pulling it out today to be here. And I am Pioneer Peru.
And I'm apparently lazy, loser, tired, evil, nasty bitch trailblazer Nick.
And this
The
is Pioneers and
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers. Peru's home edition in 2025. Yes. And mind you, my dog greeted you so lovingly.
Clover was very excited to see me. That was the sort of welcome I was hoping to receive from my dear sister, but I was not met with that.
Sure. Listen, whatever. We had a great weekend, so I guess it's safe to say, having a testy starting to our recording, that it's okay. We don't always have to be in the best spirits, and that's a testament to our professionalism, I guess.
It's a testament to mine, for sure.
Well, we had a weekend together. Not a weekend together. Can you imagine? We had a weekend together.
We just spent Saturday to Saturday.
Yeah, I know. See, I can't even make a joke.
What was that, a joke?
No, I was just saying, I'm making a weekend together, and I was gonna make fun of the fact that it makes it sound like we had a weekend together,
In what way?
in a sensual way.
Oh, we went away for the weekend.
Yeah, a weekend getaway,
Upstate.
rendezvous.
Yeah, I got it. No, we just went and saw Anora. We watched sex workers on screen.
We also which as sometimes in that industry I felt very seen, but it was really fun and we had a good time. We took some photos, which if you want to subscribe to our Patreon,
yes.
we did put a couple photos. And actually, let me just do a couple of shout outs for the people. Honestly, again, it bears repeating. It's been so fun. Who would have thought people just want to see us be stupid? Just hear about what we do.
I know, way more than I thought.
I took the worst photo of my life of the yuca croquetas that we had at the fucking Mexican
Those were
restaurant.
really good,
And
actually.
because Miss Mama Nick, if you want to know something about Miss Nick here, not the biggest fan of seafood, and
No,
so
not the biggest.
and
but-
so anytime that we're out to dinner or to eat, I have to, because I'm the one who I guess it's safe to say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, sister. I don't want to get in your bad leg.
oh right. Uh-huh.
What was I saying? Oh, it's safe to say, I like to encourage you to try different foods.
Yes.
That's a correct assessment, right?
And I will say sometimes before we even have the opportunity for me to say, "Oh, I'll try that," you do sort of shoot it down and you go. So there are some moments where it's like, "Oh, you don't eat that," and then I'll be like, "Oh, but I'll." That's what happened at the restaurant on Saturday.
This is really townspeople. Everyone. This is an episode about there's two sides to every story, and the same story can be told separately, because my sister here, Nick,
As-
alleges
mm.
that the attitude that was given to her was like, you don't eat that. No, I remember looking lovingly at the menu and being in my head.
Oh, is that what? That's
Yeah,
how it
the
happened.
inner monologue I had looking at the menu was like, oh, let me find something that my dear friend Nick and I can share together. And then I saw that the croquetas, the yuca croquetas, had shrimp in them. So then I said, as it was like a thought as it was coming out of from my brain to my mouth, as all thoughts work.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, like the yuca croquetas sound delicious, but they have shrimp. And I don't know if you eat that. That's how I saw it.
So, as Miss Uba from The Real Housewives of New York famously said in the season finale last week, there is only 3 people who know the truth: me, her, and God.
Great.
And that's where we're gonna leave that.
And you know what? Perfect. Well, please, God, if you're watching, please drop a comment down below. Although God, I don't know, is a Patreon subscriber.
No, she's been listening to me though. She's been answering a lot of my prayers recently. So.
Oh, I mean, do you want to get? Do you want to talk about that, or should we say that for behind the paywall? Because
maybe behind that I think you're referring to behind that paywall.
Nick.
I was talking about getting my documents printed off today.
Oh, well, I love that. I was talking about like Nick having a meeting with someone who he has been fantasizing about for months. I think we should discuss that one for sure. But for now, we should discuss the people who are here. I just wanted to say a couple peeps. Jordan Taylor from Town Council member. Shout out,
babe.
Been an avid. I mean, I think you're like a townsperson now, promoted to Town Council member for a long time.
Also,
so,
the first Patreon subscriber, right?
I believe so. Oh yeah, you're right. I think so. So shout out. Thank you for being here. Love you. Then Robert Horvath, thank you so much to you. I want to shout out Ignacio. Thank you so much, Ignacio. And then I also want to shout out. There was one really nice comment on the Patreon from one of the surveys that people take. And this person said, and I love them, it was actually them. It was Ignacio. So Town Council member Ignacio, thank you.
Shout out.
I love y'all's podcast. We all need to support this pod. I've been hearing several LGBT podcasts, but unfortunately they always end up leaving due to various reasons. So if giving some extra
what are the various reasons?
I know exactly, right? So if giving some extra bucks will help keep this pod going, you better believe I will give them to y'all.
Because gay people will be broke. That's why they can't
Gay
afford to keep
people
going.
cannot afford. Well, one, they can either not afford to continue, or they're just not relevant enough to continue having stories worth telling.
Well, pretty soon it's gonna be a GoFundMe. Help me get out of my abusive roommate situation.
Oh my! Imagine what, me or you?
Me. From you. I'll be like, get me out of my abusive.
You just call me your roommate.
Well, that's what.
Wow.
I mean,
it be your own sister sometimes in your own words, bitch.
Famously. Actually, no, I'm not gonna get into that because that'll be controversial.
What?
But I will say.
No,
like,
say it.
There's
There's
kind of a long running joke online where it's like if a queer person is, if a queer person like is asking for money for help. Sometimes this was on Twitter for a period of time. It'd always be like, oh guys, like I'm low on funds, mutual aid, please help. And then like the explanation is abusive roommate, and then you look at like the reasoning why they were abused and they were just asked to put the dishes away. So it's like, and then it's like, help me get out of this now,
please. I cannot do dishes.
So that's what I'll be making a GoFundMe like that very, very soon if the Patreon doesn't take off in the way that I want.
I am wearing a gift that Nick got me from his Wisconsin.
You're welcome. How thoughtful was your sister?
Yeah, and to be received this way with this energy about me abusing you as your roommate.
Well, I've just had a hard week because let's start off on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
No, it was on Wednesday. Wednesday, I booked an appointment for the DMV because I am finally making the exchange, changing over my Wisconsin ID finally after 7 fucking years to be an official New York State resident. And so I had been planning this for like I was gonna do it. I went home first weekend of January. Well, actually no, because the first weekend of January is my birthday. So like basically second week of January, I went home and I was like, as soon as I come back, I'm gonna take care of this and get it done. And so Tuesday morning, I wake up early because my appointment was at 10:15. I do my hair, like I like make sure I put on a cute outfit. Cause I'm like, they're taking my photo. I'm like, like from the waist up, you know. I was like,
of course, Victoria Beckham style.
You know, like Kim Kardashian doing that photo shoot, whatever, at the DMV fully alone. Be like, oh, can I get a retake?
Yeah, but the originator of that was Victoria Beckham. Let's give credit where it's due. The first person to ever do that was Victoria Beckham.
See, I'm too young for that. I don't remember.
Oh, I've seen that. Honey, that clip goes on Instagram like every other month.
I haven't seen it.
Yes, you have.
Well,
girl.
maybe you're gonna have to show it to me. me because I don't remember it. I'm
Yeah.
also not on Instagram like
No,
you.
I'm sorry to believe that it's not because of a youth thing. It's because you're just not in tune with the cool people.
Well, I disagree. But then anyway, I was told because I had one of my friends had recently done it and was like, "Oh, Diva, you need to do an appointment. Like, don't just walk in because like he had done that initially and he was there for like 3.5 hours and never got seen. And I'm glad that I did because I got there and I checked in 5 minutes before and it was packed. The DMV was crazy and like I was expecting it to be busy, but not like that. And so then I had an appointment. I waited maybe 15-20 minutes and then they called my number up to the window. There was a line because I assumed they just called up all the people who were looking to exchange their IDs all to the same window and we were just kind of going one by one. And so then eventually someone that was working behind the counter told me to go to a different window. So I went and then I go to this woman and she was like, she goes, "What are you doing? Like, what do you want? What do you need?" And I said, "Oh, I'm exchanging my ID." And she was like, "Ugh, and you're at this window?" And I was like, "Yeah, someone sent me here." And she's like, "Ugh, let me see your stuff." And I was like, okay, so I give her my ID, my state ID. I give her my piece of mail because I double checked on the website before I left. And I said, what do I need to bring? All it said was proof of address and a form of ID. And I went, okay, perfect. I have my driver's license. And I also have a Con Ed, not bill, but it was a Con Ed piece of mail that has my full name on it and my address. So I go, okay, great. So I pull out the envelope. I give it to her. She goes, can you take it out of the envelope? And I was like, whatever. So I pull out the envelope. She looks at it and she goes, no, I need the official statement. And I said, what? She goes, no, you need your like official electric bill. And I said, oh no, I thought I just needed proof of address. And she's like, mm. She goes, no, it has to be the bill. And I was like, really? And she goes, and you also need another form of ID. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And she goes, because this is only 4 points. You need 8. And I said, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? What do you mean points? Like, that wasn't on the website. Like, what do you mean points? And she was like, yeah, so you're going to need like a passport, social security card, and then you're going to need another bank. You're going to need a bank statement and your electric bill statement. And I said, okay. I was like, I have those online. They're virtual. Can I just show you? And she, they got to be printed out.
Which to me, the difference in being raised by different people or like just culturally speaking, like, I mean, for one, I will give you 1 ounce of credit with the idea that there should be a way for you to like make an appointment at the DMV, and technologically speaking, there should be a way for like
you to upload documents.
So these are the documents uploaded to your appointment.
Yes.
And then they just pull it up, right? Wouldn't that be fantastic?
That would be so easy.
Yeah. But at the same time,
but they also didn't have any of this like information on the where I was booking my appointment. I looked and all it said was form of proof of address and a form of ID.
Yeah, but that's not what I was roasting you for when you told me. The idea that you were just like, well, I have it on my phone, so can I just show you?
I didn't say it like that.
I love that the other you're like, can I just show you here on a screen grab?
Okay, it wasn't. It wasn't.
That's hilarious. The lady's just like, no, bitch.
No, I said, well, it has. I said I can pull up the bank statement on my phone right now. It has my name and address on it, and she was like, no. And then she goes, next. She's like, she said you're gonna have to come back at a different time. Next.
Damn,
and then sent me off
next to you.
And I literally almost started crying. I was so upset with myself. I was like so mad at just frustrated at the situation because I was like, are you kidding me? So I'm so glad that I had an appointment because had I not had one, I would have waited for like hours for that to then still happen to me, and I would have been even more pissed off. So then I was like, well, listen, it's a 15-minute trip home, and then I was like, I could just circle around and come back. When's the next appointment? I look online. The next appointment's not until hours later at 4:30. It was not even 11 o'clock yet that morning, and I was like, well, I have to work at 4, and I was like, there's no point. And I didn't even know if I didn't know where my passport was in my apartment. I had to locate it, so I was like, I'm not gonna call out of work to like handle this. I was like, I'll just come back when the next appointment's available, which is tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow. I have my passport, I have my bank statement, and my Con Ed bill.
And what did I tell you, Nick? For this stuff, like, listen, any Latin townspeople, y'all know our moms, for any appointment, our moms be carrying birth certificate, driver's license, passport, proof of residence, like the bodega ladies' fucking bills, like they just bring everything on their purse. And then whenever the lady, like for example at the DMV, let's pretend the situation, my mom would have pulled out her freaking like Target receipt, her freaking like Walmart grocery, like she would have pulled out every single thing. And then I've just been raised that way.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I have like an appointment for anything, I'm just like, well, here's my ID, here's my driver's license, here's everything. What else do you need? Here's my headshot, here's my resume.
Well, see, and then she was like, well, you need. She goes, and you need a form of ID also if you want the real ID. And I was like, well, what if I don't want that? I was like, what if I just want basic? And she's like, you still need to have your documents.
Wow.
And
Nick,
then I
Nick
was
being like, fuck the real ID for the immigrants in the city.
well, now I'm getting a real one. Now I'm getting a real one tomorrow because I found my fucking passport and it doesn't expire until October. Thank God. But if you look at that photo of me, I was at a fucking high school. I was a sophomore. No. I was a junior.
Which one? Which photo?
My passport.
Oh.
Well, same for my
Your driver's
Both of
license.
them. Different person, completely different person. It's crazy looking at that image. That's over 10 years ago. Like
Nick still has his ID with the vertical.
it's a vertical under 21.
It's a vertical under 21. What
well,
are
because
you doing, girl?
it doesn't technically expire until next year, so I was just holding on. I was just gonna hold on to it until it expired, but then I was like, at this point, the country, everything that's going on, I said, let me just secure my documents and
Can we
shit.
talk seriously about that for 2 seconds? We're not gonna get too serious, but I was literally on a fight with my mom this morning
Oh God.
on a call, and of course, when two Latin people speak over the phone, we yelling. When we're in a fight, we're screaming. And when I tell you I was walking down with Clover, and I think Clover was being extra cute walking down the street when we went back from our walk
To make
earlier
up for
today,
the screaming.
to make up for the scream, because people were looking from across the freaking.
Oh, I can imagine.
And you know me, my voice carries.
Yes, in this room alone.
In this room alone, Oscar nominee. In this room alone.
Well, the Pedro.
Your life story.
I was just gonna say I'm giving Tilda Swinton in the room next door. That's Pedro.
Listen, we can go see that one together, but I really think that we should go watch a fun movie. We should go see one in one of them days.
Well, I agree because isn't the room next door about euthanasia?
What's about a woman who's like
Assisted suicide.
choosing to to end her life, not end her life, but basically.
Well, that she is ending her life now.
Yeah, but it's not Anastasia. It's like a different form. Some luxurious way of
Well,
killing yourself.
it's a lethal injection, I'm sure.
I don't think it's. I don't. There's some. I don't. I think it's just foregoing treatment. We'll have to see it.
Okay.
But I mean, I think Nick and I we need to go to a movie to get silly, get wine drunk, mommy juice, and then go.
Well, we did that
have
with
fun.
Anora, kind of, but we didn't get drunk before.
We'll get to Anora. But I was talking to her because she, again, Latin mom themed, I guess, on my end today. But it's very much like if something expires in a year, or actually not even mom themed, maybe it's just I'm an Aries, so sometimes I'm I wait till something's about to expire to renew it. And so my mom is just talking about renewing my license, making sure all of my stuff is aligned. And I'm just to be honest, mom, I'm I don't and of course, I always want to stir the pot. So I'm what if I want to move to China? What if I want to move to Spain? What if I want to move to Uruguay? Who's telling you that I want to renew anything here? What if I just want to leave? You know what I mean? And she's like, you're talking nonsense. Of course you're going to stay. And I was like, well, what if I don't want to stay? Huh? What if people would kick me out? What
well,
if
where would you go?
the world's my oyster, girl? Just people, and I think it's just my mentality of just whatever, yes, we came here for a reason, but the idea of the American dream has been so frail the past, 8 years, and now that Miss fucking Trump is back in office, the idea of the American dream is completely being changed.
So this is why you were screaming with your mother because you were like, I can go anywhere.
Yeah, and she was like, no, you're staying. And I was like, no, I can move tomorrow. So I'm yelling on the phone. I'm listing the places I can go. I'm just like, I can go here, I can go there. And she's like, no, you're not going anywhere.
Oh
And Clover's just like, beep, 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 beep.
Everyone around's like, oh my God. Everyone's like, please.
Please move. Anyway, so we went to go see Miss Anora.
On Saturday.
On Saturday.
I had already seen.
And I hadn't seen it, and Nick was okay with going to see it twice, which gave me a good sign because I was like, okay, it's probably a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of you all townspeople are movie buffs or are into award season, but trust and believe that whatever you may think of us, Nick and I are, we like to critique.
Oh, I love. And I trust, and I will give my opinion.
And award season is very fun, and I will say both of us, I think, stamp of approval. It's Pioneers and Trailblazers approved. They can add that to their poster.
No, it was good. It was fun. I mean, I saw it. The first time I saw it, I enjoyed it, and I think seeing it the second time, I was telling this to Peru after we watched it. I think it really solidified that I liked it. I think after seeing the first time, I was like, okay, this is good, but I don't know if it's a movie that I would necessarily feel is gonna stick in my sort of back pocket of movies that I'll just pull out when I want to watch something. But then seeing it the second time, I'm like, wait, this is a good movie. Like, I will come back to this eventually at some point.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about Sean Baker's movies just in general. Like, I'm like Tangerine's one of my favorite
Love.
movies.
Put it on your list of
If you
movies to
haven't
watch if you haven't
seen,
seen Tangerine. It was on Netflix for a bit.
it was on Hulu the last time I checked. It kind of bops around from streaming service or whatever, but it's really good if it's on whatever you can find. And it's also not very long. It's like a 90-minute movie.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I think the biggest question that I think it was going to be fun to discuss here is that like the idea of sex work being portrayed in movies and in media, it even though we are making strides in just having the portrayals be out there,
Mm-hmm.
this movie brought up the biggest point to me, that is like Miss Mikey Madison, well deserved recognition. She's an Oscar nominated actress now, and I know we've both discussed her other work outside of Anora, but I mean, great film. She literally pops that puss so good. The emotional puss, title of that emotional puss, but also physical sexual puss. But honestly,
Figurative,
metaphoric. But what I was trying to say is, I feel like the idea that with sex work, which is why I've been so obsessed with just like talking about sex workers lately to anyone I know. Like I'll just talk, and I don't know if that does that make me weird. Like, how would you feel in any like social circumstance? I like really openly talk about what porn I'm watching, whose porn I enjoy, what adult content creators I like, and I think that there's a subconscious part of me that wants to do it, not necessarily for shock value, but to create a dent in the social norm that is not having to talk about those things in those kinds of social settings. Does that make sense? And so we go to see
Sure.
Anora, and then for like that hour and 40 minutes, the entire audience is just like, oh my god, bravo, Mikey Madison, literally shows her tits, gets fucking blown out, and then like she's a sex worker and she's fierce diva. But then you go out of the movie theater, and then you're still afraid to talk about sex work, or your maybe like desire for sex work, or experience, or even, does that make sense, or consumption of that? Because outside of just, even during the Oscar season, like Miss Mikey Madison's just going on all the things, it's just being so regal and so poised and whatever. But then there is still that detachment that like, okay, well, it's it's just like any other industry.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, it can't speak for everybody about everyone's, experience leaving the theater, being like, yes, pop your puss, bitch, because, it did end kind of on a sad note. So maybe some people were reflecting on the emotional weight of the journey that Miss Mikey Madison went on and not constantly just thinking about, popping her puss.
Of course.
But
In the ending, if you see it,
but But I think that can be said by a lot of films that portray sex work, is that a lot of times when it's in the conversation of awards season, it's always kind of like, oh, we'll honor this because it is such a risk to do something so taboo, and it is still to this day like a taboo subject, especially under the administration that we're living under now. And like, it's the very conservative Christian sort of ideals of what life should be looking like, and like what it is that we as humans do with our time on earth. Yeah, having sex is usually kind of shunned, and we're sort of taught to like brush under the rug, which we talk about all the time on this pod. But I do think it sort of humanized it. What I like about Sean Baker's movies, because this also happens with Tangerine too, because it's about trans sex workers. I think it doesn't sort of glamorize that lifestyle in a way that I think a lot of movies can, or it doesn't also do sort of the what's the word? It's like the trope of like girl who like turns to sex work and her life turns to shit sort of thing. Like, it's not seen as like a cautionary tale or whatever.
Or a girl turns to sex work, but then there's like a light at the end of the tunnel because then she meets the right guy.
Yeah, and then she'll be
or like,
saved.
or someone loved her, and then regardless, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think with like like a movie like Tangerine, the whole sort of plot is around like two trans sex workers who are trying to like locate her pimp, who's like also her boyfriend. But like the drama is about her trying to like locate her man and be like, where the fuck is he? I heard he's cheating on me.
Yeah.
And like Anora, it's about the dynamic between her and this like young guy who is very wealthy, and like the power dynamics of that, which I think is also very interesting. But the whole time, like, she really kind of Anora keeps her power throughout everything, and without any spoilers, like keeps her power and like never feels shameful for the work that she does, which I think I can't pick a specific movie off the top of my head that does this, but I feel there sometimes tends to be a trend, which you're saying, like, light at the end of the tunnel. You meet someone who's going to save you from this lifestyle, so you never have to do it again. Girl, don't worry. Like, it's very clear that she's going to keep doing what she's doing, you know? Or, like, she's, like, even after everything that she went through, she was, like, still kind of stands firm, and she's like, you know what? Like, this is...
Well, yeah, but I mean, the ending is very much like there is an emotional detach. Like the ending of the Anora is very not like it's bleak.
I mean, yeah, it's bleak, but I think it's also, I think a lot of it is so much to do because it's, I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it and you do want to see it. But I think a lot of it is because there's the kind of blurring of lines between job and then like attachment, emotional attachment, which is, I think,
Right.
which I think with like sex work can be, I think sometimes people often view sex as, in order to have sex with someone, you also have to have an emotional attachment to them. And so I think that's why sometimes people get so caught up on like people specifically like with us when we are having casual hookups and talking about it all the time and being like, how can you fuck all those people if you don't like them? And it's like, well, because there's a difference between physical intimacy and emotional intimacy, and sometimes they cross,
Right.
and sometimes they don't.
And in the same way, to tag on to that, in the same way, there's also a difference between clearly socially acceptable conversations about sex and conversations that other people would deem as inappropriate to talk in social settings, where I feel like I'm finding it harder and harder to assess where that line stands with not only close friends of mine, but just in, I guess, general settings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like sometimes there's still this element of like, oh, like you don't want to be talking about like your sex life, or you don't want to be talking about what you do behind closed doors, or just you don't want to be talking about like sex work in general, you know? I always wonder what it would be like, and this may be, I don't know, this might sound ignorant, but I don't care. I've said many things on this podcast before, and
Well, you've been ignorant and you will continue to be.
Right, and listen, and that's perfect. You know, I never claim, unlike Miss Nick over here, I never claim to be the smartest person in the room.
I've never claimed to be the smartest person
You
in
just
the
call
room.
me ignorant, but it's fine.
You just said I'm like, if this may be.
yeah, it's fine if I say it. I'm fine if you say it.
Well, I'm also ignorant sometimes.
Good. Anyway,
At least I have the self-awareness to say it.
I literally just call myself ignorant.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I guess what I'm saying is like, I always wonder what it would be like to just hang out with sex workers all the time.
Well, that
you
is
know?
something you could do.
But and here's what other people, for example, I was listening to The Bold and the Beautiful with Miss Trixie, Miss Katya. Hopefully, at one point I get to see this because I would love to talk to them in person. But Miss Katya is known for having a lot of friends who are sex workers or who, excuse me,
Okay.
or who work in porn.
Adult entertainment.
Oh my god,
Oh my god, that was been so scary.
is it still good?
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Sorry, hold on. And you know, there's this common misconception too that people who are in the industry are like always talking about sex, but they're not. You know, because their job is to do that. So like on their free time, they're not just always talking about like what guys they're fucking and what kind of gig they had that day. But in my head, I still have this like thing where like, you know, like I want to abide by like my commitment to being open and being sexually free and like sex positive. And I don't know if sometimes like maybe you can tell me as my friend, you know, like can that go too far? Like can sex positiveness in social settings?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to read the room. Ultimately,
Of course. I mean, I'm not going into freaking like the HR office and being like, okay,
No,
divas,
but I think-
pop pussies tonight.
but I have been present where you have said some things sometimes where it is a little bit.
Okay, well,
it's a little bit
that was
far.
okay. I know which one you're referring to.
I know,
but that was because one, I was tipsy, and two is because it was like a coworker that we trust.
Right. But even then, I think there are sometimes, and you asked, so I'm just saying what I've seen. I like it's not that often, but there are sometimes some instances where I'm like, sister, maybe we went a little too far with what we said. Because listen, I don't care. I will say I'll talk about sex or whatever. That's been like a huge.
I
part
was at work, and then
have we talked about this? I think we talked about this already.
have we?
I feel like
I don't think I ever would. I don't think I ever thought about talking about that in general. I mean, it wasn't anything bad. Whatever. I guess you know.
I mean, we're not. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, okay,
But
whatever. Yeah.
but there was. But
I was not tipsy at work. No.
no.
It's not tipsy at work.
But
I was tipsy on life.
yeah. But we won't get into it. But just know that there was something that was said that was really, as soon as the words uttered from your mouth, the room went silent, and we just stared at you, and like I had no idea how you were gonna recover from that.
Mind you,
and instead of saying oh, you doubled down and repeated it, and then I had to go, okay, so moving on.
And mind you, just for context, because it's always about context. I'm not just a crazy person. I can be, but I'm not. It was Nick, me, our friend Thomas, and the said other coworker, all gay men in a closed door, small private space. Sister, allow me to have context, because it wasn't like I was in front of guests at the door and
No, that's not what I'm saying.
it was a
That's
specific
not what I'm saying.
no, but I mean context is necessary. Like I wasn't just like at a work pre-shift and be like, and by the way, come on my face. Like I wasn't. That's not what I was doing. I said it in front of people who I felt comfortable with saying that, and that what I said did not land.
No.
And maybe part of my defense mechanism sometimes is, as you know, instead of taking a step back, I double down. And I
Sure.
did. I said it again. And
Well, I mean, at this point, we don't have to keep, because we're talking around in circles about it now, so we can
no,
move
but
on
I mean
from it.
it's very it's very important to say, because I'm just trying to make a point that it wasn't just like me being
Well, also, we haven't revealed literally any information regarding it, so it's not like someone's gonna hear you say that and be like, like no one, my first thought is not gonna be, oh, he said this in front of a huge group of people, like as if that, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like there's not anything revealed that would, you know what I mean? We don't. So that's why I was saying we don't have to keep talking about it, because it's for the audience. They're just gonna be like, what are they?
I
referring
alluded to somebody coming on my face. There. I said it.
Okay.
I alluded to something on my face, and it did not go well. Not it didn't go bad, but the joke, or I guess the commentary, was supposed to be just funny, and it didn't land.
Well, I mean, it's funny now because we laugh about it now, but in the moment, it was
the way.
it was as if someone had died in the room. The energy, the air being sucked out,
Sometimes you bomb.
and that
It's-
happens,
and
and
that
there's nothing
happens.
wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
So would you say then that even in the context of the people that I was with,
Personally, I would have
you would have never said that?
no.
Of course you would have never said that. Of course.
Personally, no.
But would you have never said that because... Okay, see? Oh, now we're getting into the meat and bones of this. Would you have never said that just because you're a much more reserved person? Or would you not have said that because it's like taboo and it lacks, like, I don't know, like decorum? Because like, if we're saying that talking about that lacks decorum, like then that's vis-a-vis saying that maybe like talking about sex or making a joke sex is wrong.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Sure. So the reason I would not have alluded.
Now we
to
have to unpack this. Now we have to unpack it.
Now the reason I wouldn't have alluded to somebody coming on my face in that environment was because, one, of the environment that we were in, two, the people that were there, one of whom I'm not that close with I wasn't that close with at the time, also still not very close with.
That person had talked to us about sex before.
But not in that way. It was always like the way that we would have.
Well, once you open the door, Mama.
Oh, so you're just saying when someone opens the door to something, you can just keep doing something without
No,
it?
I'm just saying once. It's again, it's safety. I'm saying if someone. If you're person A and you come up to me, you're like, I'm person A, and then I'm like, blah blah blah. Oh, I had sex yesterday, and then I'm like, oh, I'm person B, and then my response is not like, oh, don't tell me more. My response is like, ooh, tell me more. Then just by context, I'm like, oh, this person's comfortable talking to me.
So there's
I'm gonna
that.
do the same.
There's that sort of interaction, but then I think that it changes slightly when you are then, instead of having a conversation about, for example, having sex with another person, to being like, I'm trying to solicit, or not, I'm not trying to solicit, but I'm making a joke about soliciting a sex act from you while we're at work, like.
Right.
And whatever, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
Right.
It's a slightly different again, because Miss Thing wants to talk about context. The context is slightly
Of course.
different because, say, for example, say like I was having a conversation and I was like, oh my, I'd say I just met you, and say like I was like, oh,
Please,
I
wrong
said,
person.
and I was said, sir, sis, I just got like my whole beat the fuck down, like out, whatever, and you're like, oh my god, girl, yes, work.
Tell me more.
Now, if you came up to me like 2 weeks later and were like, essentially, I want you to come on my face, just like out of the blue,
Mm-hmm.
I would feel a little bit like, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Like, yes, we've talked about sex before, but I have never talked about having sex with you. I've talked about sex with other people that I've like whatever alluded to, but I'm not having that conversation. Like, I haven't given you indications. Does that make sense?
I guess what you're trying to say is like we had been giving, in the context of the 4 people that were in that room, we had all been giving ourselves free will to talk about sex in general, but we had never alluded to doing something.
But also, we
between
weren't
the 4
talking
of
about
us.
sex in that moment either.
I know, that's another point.
So that's the other
Yeah.
point of context.
So,
But we don't have to. We don't have to stay on this.
But listen, I'm actually very invested in this topic now. So I don't want you to silence brown voices first and foremost.
I'm not silencing.
Trust and
I'm
believe.
just trying to
I will
protect.
clip-
I'm
I will
trying to
clip this for social.
I'm trying to protect this brown voice so she can keep speaking.
Oh my god, my brown voice is so. Oh my god, I'm so in danger. I really am in danger. I'm an endangered species, like the Emmy speech, the Emmy song that Shirley Ralph, yes,
From Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, no, that's not. I'm an endangered species. Anyway, in which I don't even think I'm allowed to sing. Oh my god.
Okay, moving on. What is the next? What are we? What's next? What's next? So anyway, to put a button in that, I think it's you have to read a room, know your audience. Sometimes, listen, if you're gonna make a joke, and if you're gonna take the risk and make a joke, sometimes it bombs, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's nothing. I think the difference or the main sort of thing is talking about sex just in general, and talking about sex, having sex or doing a sex act with the person who's in front of you.
Right.
Those are two different things.
Okay, I get it. Thank you for laying out the distinction. So I after that experience, of course, yes, I understood.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, I guess outside of that experience, I'm saying like the context in which like, you know, when we're like all of us are having, because you know, for example,
Yeah, but that's we're all like out having dinner.
it's of course, like this.
We're in a different
like,
place.
You know,
it's
Sex
a
in the
different.
City. You know, like Samantha. You know, it's just always just randomly. You know, like that one scene, for example, when they're in.
Sometimes she was inappropriate and said things at the wrong time.
You just said it. That's what I mean. Like, what made it inappropriate? The fact that it was sex, because sex is so taboo.
No. It's sometimes there are just certain conversations that like you also have to understand. Like there are so many factors that go into play specifically because I think yes, we don't like the idea that sex is a taboo topic because we are so comfortable having those kinds of conversations because we have them with each other. But I think we also have to remember there are so many times when the two of us are having conversations and someone is overhearing it and they like stop by and they're like, "Oh my god, you guys are crazy! Like I cannot believe you guys talk about that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we get very comfortable because we are so open and with each other about that sort of thing. It doesn't feel necessarily like it's something that we have to keep secret and have to hide, and so then when we are around other people who don't operate in that same way, I think it's the kind of like a moment of like, oh right, okay, this is not something that everybody does. This is like this is around certain types of people that I can be this open with and everything. It's again the context, and also it's like reading the room, because again, like there are some things that you can't gauge, like unless you ask somebody like, how do you feel about talking about sex, like that's sometimes an awkward way to open up a conversation if you want to talk about it. But I think there are ways to kind of ease yourself into those kinds of conversations with people, like a little bit, instead of just right out the gate being like, give me your cum, you know?
Sure. Yes, I understand.
There's
and
like it's a dance. It's a dance.
And I think I also want to underline for the town is that I'm fully aware that, you know, sex in general, you know, like a lot of scenarios with sex can be very, very tricky, you know, can be very.
Well, and you don't know someone's history with it either, because
of course, and but you know, like again, you know, like, well, people who are listening to this and coming to listen to us and watching to us, they're fully aware. You know, one of the girls at work said that they listened to the podcast on the train ride to Canada because they took a train up to Canada.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, work.
Oh,
okay.
and Miss Thing was just like, one, it was so funny. Two, it was very informative.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, yeah, I mean, hey, we told you, told you it's like, NSFW, like it's very much forward. And then she was like, oh, I got it. She was like, yes, I heard stuff about Nick that I never thought I was gonna hear.
Oh, wait, what episode did she listen
I
to?
think the latest one.
I don't even remember what I talked about.
Yeah, girl, we talk about so much.
I know at this point.
See, which is why for me it's just like another Tuesday.
Right, but I think it's because we are in the habit because also we see each other all the time. Like I truly am. I like see you probably the most out of anyone in my life.
We start crying.
I'm like, oh my god. But I think because of that,
I
we
don't want to fight anymore.
no, I think because of that, I think I tend to sometimes forget there are certain conversations that that I can't have with other friends because we don't communicate in that way. We're not open with each other in that way just because we haven't approached that sort of moment in our relationship. But because we are very comfortable with each other and we talk about it all the time, it's just like second nature.
Yeah, and bottom line, I will say, not even to end on a serious note again, is that I'm always willing to listen back and like receive that. Like when that instance did happen, I was told like that.
Almost
Yeah.
immediately.
And so I received it. I haven't done it since. Have I? No.
No, not that I've seen.
but what I mean is like I am always willing.
But
to
now
learn.
is a lovely little sort of
Button that you get. Yeah.
a little tagline that we say whenever like we wanna laugh, or like anytime like there's like someone hot that like comes by, we're like.
But anyway, so just know that like it's just never, I never, it never comes from like a negative or nasty or like kind of like way. Like it always just comes from
No.
like a good-hearted, jokingly, like I appreciate you, like
Yeah.
I trust you, and I feel comfortable around you, and I think that's fair to say.
Sure.
If I reach that level of comfort or whatever. But
Mhm.
anyway, so. Anora was good.
No, Anora was really good, and then I was kind of pissed off because there was an empty seat between me and this other guy that was on the other side of me, and he was like, "Oh, I'm leaving." He's like, "I'm putting my jacket in my bag here if you want to also use it too." And I was like, "Okay, work." And then 2 minutes into the movie starting, some fucking faggot comes and like comes to the recliner, and he literally doesn't even like look to see if there's anything to see. He just turns and just like goes to sit down. Me and the man grab our shit. So because like mind you, I have like my headphones. I'm like I cannot have him sit on these and break them. Like I was like, oh my god. So
Well,
then
it is his seat.
I had to grab my shit. I was like, bitch.
Oh, honey, when there's a freaking empty or spacious subway seat available that one's putting their bag on or their shopping bag on in the subway train, oh, trust and believe. I come to it like this. Like, imagine this is the seat. Like that. Oh, I'm like... And I'm like, I'm about to sit on it. Like, that's an empty seat.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes I am like on my way here. I am the offender of putting the bag next to me, but
Yeah,
that's
because you're carrying like a 30-pound bag with you
well,
every day.
I mean, that is true.
Do you want to show? Well, actually,
No, it's fine.
today's not that heavy. Today looks pretty loose.
Well, I mean, it's my normal stuff. It's just in my backpack instead of my tote bag.
Do you want to talk about what you carry in your backpack? Oh my gosh, should we do that for behind the paywall? Wait.
I mean, I don't have that much in there today. All I have in my bag are
You don't have much on. Oh, okay. This is not. No, I've seen this backpack. This is the backpack that he usually carries.
it's just a Dickies
but
backpack.
but I've seen this backpack, y'all, filled. Like filled.
you should see when I go to
different-
the airport. It's like the seams
Well,
are
that's
almost
different,
split.
you know,
the
you
seams
wanna-
are almost splitting.
But the airport is different because you want to make sure that you can. Because I'm assuming you're trying to do just carry on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the trick is for the airport is you want to bring like a pack to the brain. But you would never do this because you're paranoid about being late. But you always arrive late to the gate, where you're one of the last ones, because then when the overhead space is over, then they just check it for you.
Oh, see, I don't want to get my bag checked even then.
Oh yeah,
Because I have to do connecting flight, and then I don't want to have to like wait.
Oh, you forget that you're a connecting flight all the time.
So I'm not gonna do
But
that.
what if it's connecting to your final?
No, I check it. It doesn't. It
Oh
doesn't
no, yeah,
check.
you can. Yeah,
The plane's too small, so they don't have overhead bins. So they have to do like the what's the word? Like they give you the little tag, and then they don't check it, but they put it under the plane still.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Now you're ripping your pants. But anyway. So yeah. What else did we do this weekend? Oh, then we got drinks
Wait.
afterwards, and then I got drunk, and then there was so many straight people at that restaurant.
Which I mean, they were fun. I like that there was a lot of Spanish being spoken at that restaurant. It was nice.
Yeah, there was just a lot of straight.
And you
dudes.
enjoyed the croquetas.
And I wasn't dressed up. I was literally just wearing this. If you saw the Patreon photo, I was just in pigtails and
Oh, and if you saw the nasty, horrible photo that Nick posted of me on his Instagram story.
I took multiple, and I want everyone. I want everyone to know there were multiple photos taken, and unfortunately, that's what they turned out like every time.
So what made you post it?
I didn't post it. You posted it. You said send me the photo. I sent you the photo, and you went, "It's your own sister." Sometimes.
Townspeople, comment on this video. Should your friend show you the photo that they're about to post of you on their Instagram story?
That one.
Yes, the one of me waiting on the train platform. Townspeople,
I don't think you looked
you
bad.
posted the nastiest photo of me waiting on the the subway platform, and I want to ask everybody watching this:
Wasn't that nasty?
should your friend ask you for permission before they post a photo of you on their socials? I believe so, absolutely, without a doubt. Because I
didn't
care.
tag you.
Oh, but I saw it because I see your stories all the time.
Okay, you're obsessed with me.
No.
Number one fan.
It is nasty because, like, I don't care because I'm sure my friend's gonna tell me, "Oh, you look good. I love you. You're beautiful."
That,
no matter
that
what."
got,
I don't
that got a
care.
lot of engagement. That story post
Yeah,
got a
because
lot.
I looked like a freaking trash bag.
That's not what the general consensus was.
Your friend needs to give you approval for the photo before they post it. If you don't have approval, unless your friend's a supermodel, and I'm sure still supermodels with huge body dysmorphia still need to get approval of a photo, you need to check with your friend before posting a photo of them on your stories because it will give them absolute nightmares.
Then mute my story. It was cute.
It was nasty. I looked
It
horrible.
wasn't,
My
sister,
legs
it
looked
wasn't
huge.
nasty. No,
I looked so short. I had no neck to speak of because my jacket was all the way up.
It's the winter. What
do
do
you
you
imagine how many
expect?
people? And I saw the engagement on that Instagram story. You know, out of all those hundreds of people, that they were
Thousands.
like, "That's his ugly friend." See,
That's
you
what
put- you put-
none of them said that in my DM.
you're-
So I think you're projecting just a little.
Well, if you want to like conserve the mental
You
health
post
of your friend-
ugly photos of me all the time.
What I always show you a photo that I like of us and of you.
No, but you're always posting photos to the Pioneers and Trailblazers Instagram that I'm like.
That for Pioneers and Trailblazers is just we both take
Oh.
mutual photos.
Oh,
We both take-
okay, so it's
Is a
different
photo-
all of a sudden then. Oh, okay.
No,
I see, there's a double
no.
standard.
No,
Okay, so
PNT it's a funny comedy
no,
whatever account.
the
We-
townspeople are gonna hear you and they're gonna go, "Oh, actually, you just lost your case, babe.
I-
You lost your case."
Listen,
because you
it's
don't practice
different.
what you preach. You don't practice what you preach.
Okay, well, the only reason why I'm posting photos is because I'm the only one running all of that
Oh,
account.
and
So
no.
I'm sorry, I have no.
And don't be
I
switching
had-
that on
I had
me.
I had to beg Nick to get to take a fucking photo for the freaking like Patreon subscribers who are. That's one of the biggest things. You know the comments that were just like, "Oh, I love seeing your daily life." I'm like, "Oh." Exactly. So sorry, I'm trying to just like get something out there of us because we hardly take any photos
And I was-
together.
and I-
As a matter of fact, take a photo of us right now.
I can't. I'm recording.
You're not recording. Your phone. Take a
Oh.
photo of us. Right. See. Well, look at it. Take a photo of us, the two of us together recording, and make it cute. Make sure I look cute because you're taking it. So
Well,
by
that's-
all means, you're gonna look
Might
cute.
be- I mean, it might be difficult for me to make you look cute. Wait, the lighting's bad.
Ew. See, I look horrible.
'Kay. Well, I look good. I look kind of like my grandma.
Okay. Well, those photos were awful.
Fuck it, I'm young. For those.
I'll post it. Send it to me. Anyway, all right. Well, we're gonna move over to the town council assembly here. Oh my god.
Wait, what's your...
Let's tease it a little bit. So we had thank you to everyone who gave us
well, we need to do our pioneers and-
submissions. Of course, our pioneer trails of the week, which I'm honestly right now I'm thinking about it. But thank you to everyone who submitted. If you're a town council member, trust and believe,
Trust and believer.
thank you so much for being there with us. We have a lot of titillating Google Form submissions. We're super stoked.
Mhm.
But we have a few that I know that there was a couple that you had mentioned, one that I had mentioned for sure. But don't worry, if we don't mention yours, trust and believe we have you. We will get through all of them for sure. So don't worry. If this is not the episode in which we're going to do the town council assembly topic on, don't worry about it. But if you do want to be a part of the town council assembly, what can they do, Nick?
You can subscribe to our Patreon. Yes. There's 2 tiers. The higher tier, you get additional town council assembly videos after each podcast episode if you're a member of either of those. But if you're a member of the Trust and Believers, you get an additional full episode at the end of each month. That is also not available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, or even YouTube. So if you want to get that extra content, feel free to subscribe. Link down below.
Wow.
Was that good?
No, but it's okay. We'll keep it. We'll keep it. Listen,
What was your pioneer?
Pioneer. Well, let's talk about the ones that we're going to talk about. Oh my God, yes! Someone from Finland wrote in, which we're going to get to, a really heartfelt message in there that we want to get to, and we have, what the fuck is it? We've got a 23-year-old woman from Los Angeles asking, do you think you can overlook a small dick if you're in love with someone else? And mama, this one's topical.
We're going to get into it.
We're going to get into it.
Behind the paywall on Patreon, we're so sorry to say.
Because Miss Peru had a date, and we got to talk about it.
Oh, you're going to get into that?
Oh, absolutely. We have to talk about that. I need to air my fucking grievances out about that one.
Okay. Well,
and then another one was, we can do it. I mean, depends.
I
Honestly,
think that's probably going to be the main one that we'll talk about, because if you're going to talk about your date, that's going to take some time.
I know, but yeah, okay, cool. Anyway,
Okay, so
we'll get to some
we'll
stuff.
cut this.
But anyway, if we don't get to it again, don't worry. We'll get to them in future episodes. But for the meantime, you can follow me at Hey Peru on Instagram.
You're pioneer and trailblazer.
Oh fuck. Okay, my pioneer. My pioneer is gonna be cooking.
Oh.
I've been enjoying. I'm definitely on a physical fitness journey again. I'm making a commitment to my body this year, as I've talked about plenty of times on this podcast. But for this year, and I really want to make sure that I'm getting back into the cooking that I really enjoy, making myself food. And anytime you yawn,
I'm trying to.
did you see that comment?
What comment?
Oh my God. I was going through the Spotify comments.
No, what did it say?
And then this one person was, I think they've been binging the episodes, and then it led to a YouTube episode of this townsperson. Hopefully they're a converted townsperson. And then one comment said, the comment from that same person said, anytime Nick yawns, I want to kill myself. Or it was like so every time Nick yawns, I want to go off or pop out or something. And I was like, wow, please don't watch this last 10 seconds, because it's gonna trigger you.
Want me dead? That is crazy. That is crazy, mama.
Our people,
they're turning against me already.
They're turning against you. But I love it, and I've been really enjoying just knowing what's going into my foods and getting back to the routine of making my foods and knowing what's going into my body, and so I've been really enjoying cooking lately, and I'm gonna continue doing that this whole week.
Okay, love. My trailblazer for the week is going to be Joan Didion's memoir, The Year of Magical Thinking. I finished that on Thursday at the laundromat, and I found it very insightful, very sad. Miss Thing went through so much. And wrote about it so beautifully. I cried. I really did. Oh, and I also included in that, I also cried last night. I watched The Girl in the Needle.
I think I'm going to watch it tonight. When I have
Girl,
dinner.
brace yourself. It's a lot.
Well, I think my barometer. I mean, I like to cry a lot, but I think you cry differently than I cry.
But it's it's a different kind of cry.
Yeah, but I mean I mean just the theme of the movie is it's a Polish film.
Danish.
Oh, Danish. And it's nominated for an Oscar actually. But I knew about it from way before, even from the film festivals. I believe it's about a woman who gets hired to work at an abortion clinic. Correct.
No. Mm-mm.
It's something about someone outsources this woman.
It's about a woman. Okay, brief synopsis is about a woman post World War I, who has no money, gets basically evicted from her apartment. Her husband comes back eventually, but he's incredibly disfigured from his injuries from battle. And then she ends up getting pregnant by a really rich dude who promises to marry her, but then his mother is like, "There's no way my son will marry you." So he and his family abandoned her, and so she's sort of left alone, like poor, unable to take care of
You're
herself.
actually telling the summary of the movie. You're
No,
not-
no, no. That's literally just like the essentially just like
No.
kind of the setup, and then she a woman comes across her in like during a moment in which she's trying to, take care of that
Mhm.
situation, and then basically chaos ensues after that, and it's very sad and very bleak, and
Ooh, I'm excited. Eee.
and like there's like kind of like a happy, it's not, I don't even like a happy ending, but like I don't know, I'm interested to see what you think, because
Are you?
yes, because you seem really excited about it, and I think after you see it, I don't know I don't know how you're gonna feel about it.
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I can still get
I
excited.
think you're
about
gonna be
that movie.
mad.
That'll make
I
me
think you're gonna be
think.
angry. I think it's gonna make you very angry.
Okay, I like movies that incite an emotion from me.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I watched it and I was so emotional. There were so many moments in which I was like I was physically so like having to like clutch like my pearls, because so much was going on that made me so like uncomfortable just to like watch. It's very graphic. There's a lot of stuff that goes down in that movie. Beautifully shot in black and white, by the way.
Excited.
And also the girl who's the lead is kind of like a slay.
Yeah, I've seen her before.
So I was,
Mhm.
and I have never seen anything from this director before, but I have heard of his other movies. So I will say it made me more interested to check out the rest of his work. I think his first name is Magnus. I don't remember what his last name is, but it starts with an M as well. But The Girl and the Needle on Mubi, if you guys subscribe.
Well,
So
and if you want to follow me, you already know at Hey Peru. I'm deleting Twitter. Not worth it my time. I really don't want to engage in anything but Instagram at this point, and obviously our.
well, Meta's bad too, Bama.
Well, of course, but I don't want to be partaking in all evil, so I might as well just fucking stick to one.
So you want to?
So don't call me out,
You want to
okay?
stick to Mr. Mark Zuckerberg's level of evil?
Yeah, Miss Trump fucking loyalist who's still using TikTok. Yeah, come for me, bitch.
I haven't opened TikTok since they banned it for the one day, and then they're like, "It's back." I
Great.
never opened
Then
it.
don't come for me like all those other comedians who may be listening to this, who are just like, oh my god, heartfelt TikTok's leaving. I'm leaving TikTok, changed my life. Day after, back on it. They didn't give a shit about the fucking things to Donald Trump. They're like, okay, well, whatever. So everyone's selling out for somebody, mama. So I don't care about the progressives. I don't care about all I care about is me and my happiness. And you know what? Changing my pioneer. Me.
Okay, well, we should focus actually in times like this. We should focus on community instead of the individual, because we have
Listen,
to
as
be
a
out there
queer brown
looking after each
immigrant,
other.
I've focused too much on community. Now I'm just gonna focus on myself,
Okay.
and that's on period.
You can
And with that, thank you for coming to my show, as Paula Dracker would say on Civil and Rivalry.
You can follow me at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, Clownface Binge on TikTok if I ever decide to use again, Clownface Bitch on Twitter that I like sometimes still use.
Girl.
I mean I don't.
Girl.
I mean I still use Twitter.
Thank you.
But not as much. Honestly, like I will say, post election,
We have to finish.
I know.
the
I'm
episode.
just
Okay,
saying this post election is like my desire to like busy myself on social media has significantly decreased. Like when it comes to like now, just like when I'm bored, I'm like, well, what can I do with my hands? Like,
jerk off.
Oh, I've been sewing horny. Absolutely not. I've been sewing.
Finger yourself.
I patched my jeans. The jeans that I'm wearing, I had a hole in them. I patched them up on Saturday because.
Oh my god! Can you please take my jeans today to get zippers? Yeah.
No, I have to. We have to get the. I have to figure out.
I'll just
The
take
pliers.
them so you have them in your house, and then
We'll
I
bring
can
them.
see what I'm talking about. See what I'm talking about?
No, because then
The
if I-
worst. You know what? I'll see you next week. See you on the Patreon. Bye.
Bye.